What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Billy Collins.
Matj.
And this is Magician.
And the Jock.
Guys, we are throwing it back old school. We almost back to the beginning of the channel. Like, we have chairs, just one camera, kind of a black
Billy
background.
loves his thighs. He's like, we gotta show the people what they want, man.
Gotta get the ladies in there.
Forget these tables.
I know, right? Get the tables out. But guys, we thought we would shoot a quick video with just me and Matt talking about kind of how to keep your edge.
We typically we'll have a guest on, Small Town Big Sound being the name of the channel, which we just switched over, more of an umbrella term.
Right, since we produce more shows.
Yeah, introducing Fully Vetted and some kind of sketch, I don't even know, improv acting crap we've done.
How many other people do you know that is a direct descendant from a Greek god?
Billy just had some wigs.
Well, we did have some wigs.
But yeah, this is going kind of back how it was when we first started, where it was like, hey, let's just take a concept, talk about it.
Which we will get back to the other stuff. But me and Matt, we'll sit and have these deep conversations and discussions. And when we're done, we're like, shit.
Yeah.
Like when we started the channel, we should be recording this shit.
Which is just about like how I would imagine most podcasts are like that.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some super targeted podcasts. But anyways, enough of all that crap.
Yeah. What we want to talk about is one of the questions I get asked all the time is like, Matt's always out, is he even married? Which is ironically, I get this from women that are out, that are married.
We said that before. She's like, Matt's always out. And it's like, well, how do you know? Like, it reminds me growing up, we'd say prayers at dinner time. And I'd be like, I have a younger sister, Joanna. And I'd be like, Dad, Joanna's eyes weren't closed during the prayer. And my dad's like, well, how the hell do you know? Yeah. I kind of snitched on myself.
Threw yourself under the bus. So we thought we would come on here and talk about some of the things that you've
I've made some observations, yes.
As going out.
So maybe for people who are new, let them know kind of where you are. I mean, clearly I'm a lot younger.
Yes.
Clearly. But
actually, yeah, a lot.
I am 34. I'm going on 35.
And I am 49 going on 50.
Right. I'm currently married. I've got a 3-year-old. We'll be celebrating our 7th year anniversary.
And I'm currently divorced, back on in the scene, trying to rebuild myself. And if you look back at some of the videos that we've done in the beginning of Magician and the Jock, when we started, we did a show called How a Beta Ruined My Marriage. Basically, I ruined the marriage by becoming a beta, becoming a simp, becoming a yes man.
And that's the difficult part for any guys who are married, especially those who, maybe were the quote unquote life of the party before getting married, very charismatic, always got a lot of attention from women. Whatever that is, you become married and you start to feel, it's not all at once, but you feel like you're kind of losing your edge, right? You lose some of your ambition. Maybe you're not working out as hard. I can remember before I got married, my older brother Nate was like, dude, you're going to get married, you're not going to work out nearly as hard. And he was basically saying, the only reason you're working out this hard is to attract women.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no way, I do it for myself. This is a keystone habit. It's ingrained in me. But there is a little bit of truth to that.
A lot of that is true because you get comfortable.
Well, I'm saying there's truth to like being super ambitious to attract women.
Right. Oh yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about getting into the.
It's like we're biologically wired that way. We all have a reproductive problem, which is, deep down we know really all species do two things, right? They protect the young and they make more of them. And by protect the young or the weak, women and children.
And that's very true because as me coming out of a divorce, being back, forcing myself to go out and have to be in the public eye now and not having that security blanket of somebody, and kind of revamped everything. Started working out really hard, getting back into tip-top shape of not just for me personally, but it's nice to have eyes that turn the heads and get on you. So
I played professional sports, right? So coming out of college, was drafted by the Giants, played at East Carolina, was drafted, and suddenly I was in one of the highest income, probably the top 1% of 1% at that age, definitely.
Right.
I was catapulted really, really high. Obviously got a lot of attention from women, because for the most part, if you're a 22, 23-year-old guy that's graduating college, you're not real attractive to women in terms of long-term security, being able to provide, things like that. You're still trying to figure out what the hell you want to do, figure stuff out. It kind of flipped for me. I was there, right?
Yeah.
So it had a lot of attention from women, a lot of, there's a genetic component to that, but also status and things. We've talked about that on the show. And then got married, and that's me getting married. It's a lot different from someone who maybe didn't get a lot of attention from women. They're the ones that say, oh, I outkicked my coverage, or I married up, mama ain't happy, no one happy, happy wife, happy life. You've heard those guys. For them, getting married, it was kind of a necessity, right? They secured for them access to female attention, to female companionship for the rest of their life. Whereas on the flip side, which I didn't know you were before you got married, but for me, it was really you're cutting off a lot of other options for the one. Right. It's a different dynamic.
So this is basically for those guys, or even girls, if you want to kind of get to know your man a little bit better, to watch this video. But for those guys that are either single and out, or divorced, getting ready to go out, or B, still married and need to keep that edge, need to keep that, you say it all the time, iron sharpens iron mentality about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm going to do a couple observations I've made. So I'm coming up on my 7th anniversary. For about 5 years there, the first 5 years of my marriage, I never went out.
Yeah.
Ever. I thought, okay, you only go out to try and get laid, meet new girls anyways. What's the point? You're married now. And you came in my life, which, bartender. So if I want to hang out with Billy, and Chris moved, my younger brother, young Jock, moved back in town, and I started going out. And, the thing is, before I got married, I loved going out.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it. And it wasn't I wasn't on a mission or anything like that. It was just, I love being in the mix.
You love being with the boys, love, talking to people, being social.
Yeah, man. I love being in the middle of stuff. Sounds weird, but I love dancing. I love just having a good time, doing all that stuff. And for a lot of men, I don't know if this was like it for you as well, when you get married, you think, okay, get rid of those things.
That's
single Billy.
Oh, yeah. It's like, no, I got to stay home.
I'm married, Billy, now. I have responsibilities.
Yeah, I got to, we got to watch TV together. I got to.
It's my cross to bear.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, and I was maybe it wasn't that intense, but for a lot of guys, especially guys like myself, man, you just get so damn bored. You're bored out of your freaking mind.
And when people ask me all the time, like, is Matt married? Why does he go out all the time? I'm thinking in the back of my head.
We say all the time. We're talking like once a week.
Once a week. Yeah, okay. It's not. People like to hype. I don't have a
problem, okay?
People like to hype shit.
I just need a drink to go to sleep.
But what I was saying is like, maybe if I would have done that as a married man and had my time and gone out with my friends, maybe I would probably still even be married right now. Maybe my edge would have been there. Maybe my value would have gone up in the...
It could, and I know that sounds weird, like, wait, yeah, your wife who divorced you, which, newsflash, north of 80% of divorces are filed by women, and a lot of times it's that I fell out of love.
Right.
Right? I married this strapping guy who was ambitious, who was driven, and all of that stuff, and got married, and he just slowly but surely took his foot off the gas. And
it turned into the beta, like we talked about in the
yeah, it's kind of death by 1,000 paper cuts, And when we did the show with you, How a Beta Ruined My Marriage, it was a witty title, but it was essentially your transformation, from a hard driving guy to that you get smooth edges, right?
Right.
And it turns out women like guys that are rough around the edges.
Right.
Now, whether or not that would have saved your marriage or whatever, it almost doesn't matter, right? Because you're doing it more for you. And right. that's something I really enjoy doing, and this is kind of an observation I made since going out as a married guy, is that not going out, not doing that stuff, it was all self-imposed, right? It wasn't as if I had a spouse who was like, how dare you?
Yeah.
You can't do that. What on earth? It was all she actually encourages me to go have fun. There's a lot of wives like that, like, the love of God, dude, get out of the house. Go get a hobby. Go have friends.
Please, let me have a minute to
Go
myself.
do something, try and transform back to the guy that I married, that I said I do to, right?
Yeah.
And that was a big observation I made, was that, man, this was self-imposed. I didn't go out because, a lot of married guys, we like to use our family and our wives as a crutch, man. It's a
I
very
can't go out. I
convenient
got
excuse,
that. Yeah.
And
It's almost like, I relate that to almost like the gym. Like people, I can't get to the gym. I got to go to work. I got to go make dinner, or I got this social event I got to go to. No, just go to the gym. It's just like going out is almost like an exercise to keep your social status, your social
whether it's going
abilities.
Out, that's not the only thing I cut out, right? I cut out playing golf. I cut out just about everything. I turned into a homebody thinking that's just the way it is, right?
He's not shitting. I mean, he literally picks weeds. It's like his obsession.
I love that. That is.
Jesus.
But you're sitting around, you're like, man, I'm so damn bored. And the one thing you can't do, the one thing your chick can't be, is bored.
Yeah.
And if I'm bored and I'm supposed to be one leading the family, setting the tone, it's like your quarterback having a bad attitude. It sets a really poor tone.
Bad precedence for the rest of it.
So that was number one. And we're going to get some juicy ones too. The second kind of observation I've made since going out is that, as a married guy, is that women do not care if you're married.
They do not. I used to say that with wearing my wedding band.
You bartended when you were married.
Yeah,
you can
and
speak
by
to that too.
by having a wedding band on, I got hit on way more than if I were to take it off, and I think it's because women, you could, if you're watching this, leave a comment if I'm correct or not. Women find a guy with a ring, say, okay, I can pick him up because there is no obligations.
Yeah, or it also shows you're in demand, right? Someone did that. It could also just be in good fun, like, hey, I'm going to tease this guy. I'm going to torment him knowing he can't do anything.
Yeah.
But you talked about how people you work with are like, mate, Matt's married? What? And it's funny how many arguments I get, or not even arguments, but how mad people get. Like, wait, you're married? Like, they're mad at you for being out as a married person. And when I was single back then, I probably would have been the same way. I'd be like, what are you, crazy? You need to be home. You get older, you put away the childish things. This is childish. Why are you here?
If you don't need this, is a young man's sport.
It's essentially like, don't you know marriage is not supposed to be you're not supposed, it's all self-denial. But no, I'm saying that's the thought, is it's all self-denial. So I'm going to get my fun in, I'm going to sow my wild oats, because once you get married, you're essentially taking your vows, you're going monk mode, and you're denying yourself for the rest of your life. Take up your cross and carry it daily, and it's just not like that. And since going out, it's certainly helped me develop my edge back, and it's just a hell of a lot of fun. And also, I'm a grown-ass man, right? When people, what do they say? His wife lets him go out? They say that to me. Your wife lets you go out? I'm like, lets me? Like, did I marry my mom? Like, I didn't ask for permission.
Yeah,
when you started
that is
going,
so true, because when you say that, it's. I never really thought about that until you actually brought it to my attention. Like, well, just because they're married,
happy life.
I don't ask her. She never asked me permission to go get her nails done or go out for wine and design or whatever the case may be.
If anything, you probably encouraged it.
Yeah, it's like, go out. So why? I mean, I don't see the big deal if the roles are reversed. Why is that a bit? I mean, or I guess women are just so.
So men and women are different, right? So that's another observation I made, because I've gone out with my wife. My wife is beautiful. Like, when she's out, and
when she goes out, I mean, like where we go out, she's easily the top 5.
Inevitably, she's number 1, baby. If she just happens to.
I can't say that.
Big fan. She still isn't even subscribed.
God.
But, another thing that comes up is like, wait, you're married? Okay, where's your wife? And whenever I've had this conversation so many damn times with women and men. And I'm said, she's at home with my child where she belongs. I love saying that. Carly and Brett were out the other night, and I saw Carly. I'm like, it's where she belongs, Carly. And Carly's like, I'm kidnapping her in 2 weeks. She's coming out. And, but, you know, the reality is I would have never married a girl who was a party girl, right, who loved going out. Not because I don't like her, just because I know that I wouldn't, quote unquote, allow that.
Right.
Now, it's not a case that people hear that and they're like, oh, so you
could do it, but
chained
you're
her in a dungeon, like you're a dictator. And it's no, you know, quite frankly, she's not putting up a big stink. It's not like she's saying, oh, my turn to go out, girls' night, all that.
But if
stuff.
she wanted to go out to a girls' night,
No, I wouldn't.
you would be like, no, you can't go out.
God, no. And I'll tell you why. Over the weekend, there was a bachelorette party. I can't tell you how many bachelorette parties have been out at Jack's. And I'm left thinking, like, thank God I'm a quote-unquote somewhat man of honor. Because all I could think is that poor husband.
Yeah.
Because she was ready to throw it all away.
And that
bachelorette,
that was her
they were
one last hoorah.
But that's why I don't do it. You know, don't even get me started on the bachelorettes.
Yeah.
I mean, what does a guy see? When you see a bachelorette party come in, are you like, oh, bunch of off-limit women there? No, your thoughts are,
it's like, we're going to change her mind.
get the penis straws, you know, like,
Let's go.
it's not even that you're going to change your mind. It's like they are
The
out,
penis pasta.
They are out searching for it, right?
Yeah.
So if Allison came up to me and said, hey, we're doing a girls' trip to Vegas, I would not allow it. And by saying I would not allow it, I would say, hey, look, you do whatever you want, but I'm not going to be here when you get back. Just because I know what goes on with that. And that's a double standard, right? It's only a double standard when they're two exactly the same are treated differently.
Right.
Here's the thing. I'm not worried when I leave Jack's that someone's going to follow me to my car. I'm not worried about a woman overpowering me against my will. My wife weighs 105 pounds. It would be foolish. Oh, well, Matt, you're really jealous. No, I'm territorial. There's a difference.
Yeah.
There's a big difference. But I've had that it is ad nauseum. But it's fun now. Like, at first I really tried to debate them. Now I'm like, it's so predictable.
It's so ridiculous.
But what do some of the people say to you? Because you're behind the bar, you're with...
So, yeah, and you know, we're close friends and stuff, and we do the show together, and I'm with you probably more than anybody. But they immediately come up, and it's almost like they're like, why are you not holding Matt accountable for? I'm like, Matt is a grown-ass man. If he wants to go out, he can go out. But that basically say, well, if I was married, I would never do that. Like, you wouldn't do that because...
Yeah, you were talking to a guy who said that.
Yeah, and I was
if I was married, I would have my wife out here with me. I would basically saying I would never be allowed to do
and
that.
my reply is, you will do that because you can't do what Matt does.
It's not because you don't want to. It's because
you can't. Because you don't have that mindset. You don't have that control of yourself. You think, you know, and like we said, if I should have told this person, it's like if the roles were reversed and your wife or whatever wanted to say, hey, I'm going out with the girls tonight. You back fine. See ya.
Yeah.
There's no difference.
I would be like that?
No, I'm saying that person would.
Yeah, no,
that
so
person would be like that.
I they're like, wait, so you can go out and she can't? I'm like, yep.
Yeah.
The way it is.
So I get that, or, you know, I get a bunch of girls that come and say, Matt's married, right? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, I don't understand why he's out. I'm like, because he wants to have a good time. He wants to be social. I don't understand this whole big...
head because 99.999% of dudes are out.
Trying to get laid.
Yeah, they're like, I gotta get it. And that's what they're used to. And then I come out, and this is another observation I made.
That part of that 99 point.
Which is hard not to, right? You're trying to solve your reproductive problem. That's how we're biologically hardwired to do that. There's nothing wrong with that.
But there are those people that just want to go out. I mean, we have a pretty close-knit group when we go out. I mean, and hey, and it's funny because it's kind of like we all just kind of dance together. It's not like we're You know, it's not like we're going out banging chicks
I
in
tell
the corner.
people like I'm like a bouncy ball, like I'm just bouncing, right? So
Yeah.
I do. Look, I want to have fun. I'm good, but I'm also don't want to embarrass my family. You know, I have a family name, I have a son, all that good stuff. But at the same time, that doesn't mean you have to live this hermit's life for the rest of your life. You did it. Like men, we're naturally. If you watch the movies, if you, God forbid, you listen to what a woman tells you how to be a good husband, all that crap. You turn into a plow horse. You put your head down. You work your tail off. Mm-hmm. You lose it's all self-denial.
And 20 years later, your whole manhood's gone. Your self-dignity's gone, and now you had to get it back.
Well, the problem is you felt like it was intact.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter what you felt, right? She felt like it.
I didn't take into account
different.
her feelings on the situation.
I would see. This is the problem. A lot of guys they get divorced with, their chicks leave them. They screwed up by doing everything right. But they became boring. They became dorks. They became
like cookie cutter.
I remember I was talking to one of those bachelorettes the other night, and I think they were from Raleigh or something, and she had like 2 kids, and she's like, "Wait, why wouldn't you let your wife come out and do this?" I said, "Precisely because I wouldn't want her talking to a dude like me. Imagine if I was single. You know what I mean? Like I'm a dog, like not a dirtbag, but like." I'm very confident in that area. I'm like, you're sitting here. It's like, well, my husband's home. And I said, let me see a picture. And I said, yeah, he looks like someone who would be home. And people think, man, you're the biggest jerk ever. She could not leave. Just like and that was another observation I've made as I've gotten older. Same with you. When you take away that pressure or that anxiety or that gotta find someone to go home with or whatever, you just start having conversations. You're more direct with.
Yeah, you're just like
women
I don't
respond to that 1,000% more.
Yeah,
It's
because
insane.
Even though I'm not married, and I go out, and if I go home with a girl, fine, I'll go home with a girl. But I'm good either way. And by having that kind of mindset, that mentality is like, okay, well if I don't, well, who cares? I'm not gonna. Okay, next. It's like. Because, you know, we've said this before, we hold ourselves in a little higher standard, we dress better, we act more cordial, a little bit more...
Had to rock the dad cardigan today.
A little bit more madmanish than some of the people in our area, which is fine, to each their own. But I'm also not going to seek out, I didn't score, okay, big deal. There's always tomorrow.
Well,
when people have that mentality, I got to get some tonight. And
that's they're gauging whether tonight was a success or a failure.
Yeah.
Right? That's why there's always fights at the end of the night, because dudes go out and they need to release testosterone. And since 90% of them suck with women, they have to release that testosterone some way. They get in a damn fight.
Yep.
It never fails. Never fails. That's why, like, you do not want to be around a bar when it's about to close and
the lights are coming on.
Aggressive dudes that haven't been able to close all night, and they're just like,
shit,
nice cardigan.
I got to take you outside.
You know. Now, another observation, you kind of hit on this, an observation I made is that, man, young people dress like shit.
They do.
Men and women, but men especially. Maybe that's just who I'm because you're naturally comparing yourself. The dudes that go out and it's like, oh, I know you're in a coastal town, like all that stuff.
More relaxed, more...
Which I get, but God, it's not an excuse to look like shit. And they're the same ones that'll talk, like, wonder why they can't attract women, wonder why they don't get attention, wonder all this.
No one wants to be around me.
We're not saying wear a tuxedo, we're not saying, but it's like, take a shower, like...
Put on a nice shirt.
Wear clothes that fit. Like, going out now, the amount of increase in confidence in my own, it's like if you have a home and you're looking at, what if I put it on the market? How much would it be worth?
Yeah.
You know, in that kind of scenario I play in my head, I'm like, man, it would not even be fair if I was actually
seeking out.
If I was actually participating in this game called dating or whatever, just based on what it is. And Chris and I, a young jock, we've talked about that before. When we go out or he'll go out, you get more compliments from dudes. Mm-hmm. You know, they're like, man, that's a good looking shirt. Like it's kind of like they're like, man, I better step my game up. I can't even hate.
I think that's why we stand out a little bit more, because we do, even though my bar is not like the Taj Mahal, but you know, it's okay to dress.
It's almost like as you get older, you realize it's better to err on being overdressed than underdressed.
Yeah, well, and on top of that, when you go out, if you're dressed nice, you feel better. You have more confidence. Your head, you stand up a little taller. Like, look at this shirt I just bought for $12 at TJ Maxx.
And that's the thing too. Getting clothes that fit. I mean, I can't tell you how many guys I see wearing their shirts that I'm like, dude, you're not 400 pounds. Like this
don't
shirt
need a 2X.
makes you look 400 pounds. Like if you just took a little bit of care. Oh my God. So that's an observation too. And I'm saying this stuff too because I think there's a lot of guys in marriage, and maybe you were the same way, that I remember there was Rodney Carrington did a bit on this where he was talking about, he was like 15 years in marriage, and he's like, thank God I'm married because I wouldn't stand up a chance.
Thank God I'm married. I wouldn't stand a chance right now. I can't even see my little dick unless we meet halfway. Hi, little fella.
And I think there's a lot of dudes in marriages like that, that's a fear. Now, I don't know if that was for you. I don't know if you even stopped to even think about it.
There were times that I would go in and out of working out, but I always pretty much dressed well. Like I took pride. I like to wear nice dress shirts. I like to wear like a nice, but there were times where I would wear big baggy shirts and not care and head out in flip-flops, and I'm like, nothing wrong with that if you're going to the grocery store, but when you're going out,
even there, like, you realize real quick, like, man, the competition's not that tough.
And if we're taking notice of this, married guys, if we're taking notice of this, I can guarantee you your wife is taking notice. Well, if your wife is looking at you going, okay, well, he's letting himself go. This is not what I signed up for.
That's another observation I made too. So one of the initial ones was girls don't care that you're married. Married girls don't care that they're married.
Yeah.
And that is one thing I hadn't.
And that's
you see it and you're like, if you're not on top of your game, what is it, a 50% divorce rate? It might even be higher than that.
Yeah.
If you're not on top of your game, they're going to look elsewhere.
Look, if you're not on top of the game, there's somebody that is.
There's Jim from sales or whomever.
Yeah. And then with that, them taking initiative in their look and appearance and stuff, and giving just a little bit of attention to them, is a recipe for disaster.
If they feel like it's an upgrade, that's it. And we talk all the time, like, women wake up every morning, they look at their man, they ask one question: is he the best I can do? Mm-hmm. Now, there's a bunch of fat women that are going to disagree with me. It's like, you don't agree with true love. That's one of the comments on it. I'm like, well, sweetheart, that is the best you can do.
Yeah, that's your top.
You got it. Now, they don't sit up and diary entry. Is he the best I can do? Yes or no. But it is subconsciously, it's done, right? And for guys who are married, I forget who said it, but your chick doesn't want you to cheat, but she wants you to be able to.
Yeah.
And that's a big difference between men and women. Men, it's not easy to get laid. You have to work for it, right? So if you have the ability to, that means you have some capacity, some agency.
You look good, you dress good, you have you're charismatic, you have all the elements that will make that happen.
Correct.
Let's hit on that, what you were saying about married women, the whole married woman thing, because we were talking before, and we made this conversation about one time at this lady.
No, I haven't gone home with a married woman.
No, you have not. But
I can observe.
But we were out, and this one girl who was married, she was like, well, my man's at home, and
why are you sitting here talking to me?
Yeah, and then she's sitting there saying, I can't believe you would leave your wife at home. And she came up to me and goes, your friend, I don't know why he's not home with his wife. When we went to the second bar, and I'm like, well, why aren't you home with your husband?
Yeah.
He can do this because...
So girls will come at me and they'll say that, and I'd say, you'd fall in line too. I said, you'd have been right. You'd be, if you were, quote unquote, my girl, you'd be at home too.
Yeah. And they would be happy.
They shut up. They agree.
Yeah.
They can't fight it. There's some that be like, they'll argue that forever. And I agree with them. Like, there are some that they wouldn't. I'm willing to take an L. You know what I mean? For whatever reason, when guys have standards, when guys have boundaries or whatever, it's bad.
Yeah. And, you know, like I told that girl, I was like, well, why aren't you home with your husband then? You're out. You're married. It's okay for you. But if a guy, and I said, on top of that, he's not in a corner trying to bang a chick.
And so I don't use that argument too much. I don't do that, hey, well, if the roles were reversed, because I don't think men and women are the same, right? I think
I agree, but
they're
in her
wired
concept,
differently.
yeah.
But if she said that, all I would say is you would be there too.
Yeah.
Like, or I can't believe he's allowing that.
Yeah.
And by allowing it, I mean, how do we allow it? It's not. We're not talking about stoning you in the streets. We're saying he sticks around under those conditions.
And I should ask her, I said, well, does your husband look like Matt? Does your husband look like me? Or is your husband 300 pounds and wears basketball shorts? And
this isn't but yes, there is a lot of you dudes. I'm just going to put this out here. And no, I'm not a scumbag. Would never do that. I don't find a girl who's married attractive.
yeah.
A girl, not at all. We're very territorial, right? But sharpen your axe. I'm just letting you know, because their eyes are wandering.
Yeah.
And that's not I'm not just saying at me. I'm just saying in general.
We should put a big warning sign. Warning. Your ladies are out looking. Whether you like it or not, you need to get your...
Now, some of them, they're fine. Like, I'm not trying to sprinkle a seed of doubt, but I'm just letting you know. I've had enough intimate conversations at bars, because that's all it comes down to, because it's like, hey, I'm not trying to take you home. I'm not doing it. And they're like, oh, yeah. That's the only guy in the bar that's telling them they're not beautiful and they're not trying to take them home. That automatically makes that guy more attractive.
Yeah, they automatically want...
They're like, well, they want what you can't
And
have.
what's funny is that when you do that to one, I don't know if she goes back and tells her friends, but it's like they all migrate.
I'm like a unicorn.
Yeah, it's like, oh,
it's a married guy. It's a married guy.
Come over here.
But I've had that conversation with a bunch of Marines too. For whatever reason, I've seen a lot of them out, and there's one, he can't believe it. I'm like, dude, you are gonna get so chewed up and spit out when you get married, because he is so blue-pilled. He is so bought into this, put the P on the pedestal type deal. So anyways, another observation I've made, well, we kind of touched on this, but it's kind of cracking the code with game.
Yeah.
And that is, you know, because I'm out, right, married, and I am kind of like a participant and an observer. Participant and an observer. So it's kind of fun. I love psychology, I love watching people or whatever. That's a blast. But that is also some ninja level game. Mm-hmm. I was telling, it might have been Lance, but I'm like, dude, if you could develop my mindset, right? Be a married guy that loves to flirt. You do that, I'm telling you, I forget, I was like, dude, I could be batting 1,000 since going out. I could be batting greater than 1,000.
Is that because you have no...
it's
no initiative to take someone home.
I'm not doing it. No, I know there's like a genetic component. I know there's some status. I know there's blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm not blind to that. But it's a lot of it's energy, too. Because I'm not coming off as a creep. Maybe I do. But, like, I haven't asked for anyone's number. I haven't asked for, what are you doing after this? I'm just like, all right, cool, have a good, I'm a bouncy ball.
Yeah.
And they, like, women, there's one thing women like, they want to be able to tame someone. They want to be able to, like, mold him into their box. So that's what I was telling them, man. It's like crack the code. It wasn't quite as easy before getting married, but now it is.
Like shooting fish in a barrel.
It's insane. People dressing bummy. Guys having no game. And also, I'm just older, so I understand
the dynamic of a
woman
and a little bit more, yeah.
And also, I'm not taking you home.
And on top of that,
it's like there's no way you can reject me.
And on top of it, we talked about our group. Our group, we're well-groomed. We hold ourselves a little bit better. We kind of...
Some in the group better than others.
I can't speak for...
Boyd, get your life together, man.
Boyd's a wreck.
No, I'm kidding. Boyd's
awesome.
Boyd's got a great energy, too. Let me think. Do we miss any? If I could do any parting words, it's that if you're married, it's like those that say, hey, making money's really hard. If that's your
mindset
opinion, it's going to be.
Yeah.
Right? If you think for marriage, it's just tough, it's total self-denial, this is just the way it is. If you're bored off your ass, I'm not telling every married guy to go out. That's something I happen to enjoy. But remember your old self, what you enjoyed, the kind of stuff that you did, the kind of shit that made your wife attracted to you in the first place. Because you were doing that stuff when you met her, probably doing that stuff when she said, yes, I will marry you, and I do. That shit you've gotten rid of, put into the old single self box, do it. Start doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
You're going to get a lot of fulfillment, and hey, does this guarantee your wife's going to never leave you? No, but if she leaves you, at least you had fun.
Yeah, and that's, guys, life is full of crap already. You know, why not go out and have fun every now and then, live life? You know, I'm sure.
And most rules that you're following, they're self-imposed.
Yeah.
For men, they're self-imposed.
Yeah, there's no rule book of what you should be doing.
But there's guys, I'm telling you, they are terrified to step out of line. They are whipped puppies. And they're the ones that are saying, I can't believe your wife would let you. I'm like,
your wife
let me?
Your wife will.
They're basically projecting like, when I get married, there's no way in hell my wife would ever let me.
Your wife let you off the chain? How dare?
How dare you?
How dare you?
Oh my gosh, guys. If you agree with this, if you disagree with this, leave us a comment down below. Do us a huge favor. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel.
Smash the like button.
Guys, we'll see you on the next video.
Peace.